All right, so now let's get into today's webinar. We're going to introduce you to Burke Smith, who's the Chief Communications Officer for HSA Home Warranty and also the founder of Your Net Coach.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Brian. Most of you know me, and for those of you who are meeting via webinar for the first time today, welcome. We hope everybody is off to an awesome 2014. We wanted to make sure that we kicked off the year with what we thought was going to be a real game changer in 2014. Video and YouTube have been around a long time, but as you will see, very few people in our industry are currently using it effectively to serve the needs of the clients. By way of introduction, once again, my name is Burke Smith. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at HSA Home Warranty. This has been a series of very exciting added value initiatives that we've kicked off a few years ago, and it's grown tremendously. The feedback from our agent clients and the broker community out there across the country let us know that this has been a terrific added value that has helped them grow their business tremendously. So we will continue to do it. Brian Geik is also on the line. He is our resident social media guru here at HSA Home Warranty. As you saw on the previous slide, I always like to start off by saying that technology will never replace agents, but agents using technology will. And I'm sure that most of you on today's call would agree with me. We can't hear you agreeing with me because, as Brian mentioned, all of you are muted. So we have a lot of people on today's call across the country. So if you have any questions or comments as we go throughout the presentation today, the best thing to do would be to type them into that chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. As Brian mentioned, you can also reach us on Twitter. But also keep in mind that we record all of these calls, and these webinars are set up to give you step-by-step instruction on the topics that we are covering today. So many of you have been on the calls before, and these webinars have enjoyed our instructive tutorials on Facebook, LinkedIn, tools for social media to win listings and convert buyers. We're hitting on YouTube today, so take good notes. But of course, if there's something that you missed, you're going to get a copy of this whole presentation step by step. In fact, there is an awful lot of information packed into today's 1-hour call, so we don't expect you to get it. We don't expect you to be able to follow along and get it all today. But we do expect you to take the time, invest in yourself, invest in your business by coming back and reviewing these slides. And all we want you to do is make the commitment to take 1 or 2 or 3 steps that we show you today to get started, because we wouldn't be talking about it today if it didn't help people win listings and convert buyers. As you saw in my bio, in addition to being the Chief Communications Officer at HSA, I'm also a broker in California. I built my real estate company in Southern California. I've sold an awful lot of real estate using the tools that we're going to talk about today. In fact, I'm responsible for over 1,000 closed transactions and over $500 million in closed residential real estate. So this isn't just about talking the talk. I've walked the walk. Many of the agents who are on today's call have done it as well. We're not asking you to do something that we would think would be over your head or impossible to do. We know it's effective. We also know that by following the steps outlined here today, that you too could be effectively using video to win listings and convert buyers immediately. All right, so let's get started. The secret's out of the bag, as you know, we had alluded to in our promotion of today's webinar, that this is something that consumers want. But before we really can expect to convert from the social media tools that we use, there are some basic reminders that we always like to start off our webinars with. And the first one being that thinking of yourself as a brand. What's your niche? Okay, just like we wouldn't expect you to get results from a website or from any kind of offline marketing that was trying to be all things to all people, you're not going to get anything out of utilizing YouTube and video for your clients if you're trying to be all things to all people. So one of the most important things to do in identifying how to best convert using these tools would be to create a brand identity. And the reason being is that when you become an agent, your name is no longer just your name. Your name is a brand. So like the brands you see up here on the screen in front of you, something comes to mind when you hear their name, when you see their logo, right? When you hear Lexus or Ritz-Carlton, something comes to mind. Well, you, just like you work potentially for a brand, a real estate brokerage, that brand means something to you, it means something to your clients. Well, your name is a brand. And in fact, it's the brand that most people are going to come into contact with most frequently. So before you can expect to get a lot out of your social media or really any of your marketing, I want you to take a very simple branding step, very simple branding exercise. And that's to write down 3 to 5 things that you think your brand represents in the market. Ask your family and friends, and I don't want you to just say loyalty, integrity, and experience. I want you to think about what's that niche that you're really best at. Okay, what is that niche that you want to own? Are you best with luxury homes, first-time home buyers? Are you best with short sales, foreclosures, investors, baby boomers, Gen X? There's going to be a group or a geography, a neighborhood, an area that you specialize in. It doesn't mean that you can't serve other niches. It just means that there's going to be one that you work best with. And come up with your big, bold statement. Okay, what's that big, bold branding statement that will follow you wherever you go? For example, I am the #1 resource for selling your Edwardsville home. Okay, or the best resource for real estate in Edwardsville. Nobody wants to work with just a resource. And some of you who happen to be at brokerages with tremendous amounts of resources, or some of you have been in the marketplace a long time, you really are the best resource for real estate in your market. So come right out and say that, because people will feel much more comfortable working with you, but also you will convert more from your social media and marketing tools, unlike what we're talking about with YouTube today. You're going to hear Brian and I talk a lot about conversions, because at the end of the day, you only get paid on conversions. Everything is a waste of time if it's not leading towards converting a buyer or a seller. And that includes YouTube and your other forms of social media. People don't care if you have 1,500 viewers of your YouTube video if you can't sell their house. So conversion tactics are a big part of our previous webinars and a big part of this one. Okay, so let's move along and we'll start getting into the real advantages of YouTube, and then walking you through how to best set up your YouTube channel and videos. Obviously, buying and selling a home is an emotional process, okay? And nothing conveys emotion better than full motion video. And that's why real estate professionals and brokerages have embraced video more than ever. But from a percentage standpoint, it's still very, very low. So there is a huge competitive advantage for all of you on today's call. Obviously, YouTube is not brand new. It's been around a while. In fact, over 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single minute. So the eyeballs, every single minute, you're seeing more and more people there, because that's where the eyeballs are. People are online. National Association of Realtors tells us that 92% of our clients are going to start their search on the web. Well, where are they going? Right? So YouTube is not just one of the most trafficked websites on the planet. It's also the 3rd largest search engine. We also have been hearing a lot, not just lately, but over the past probably a year to 2 years, about the power and the value of Generation Y, millennials, from recruiting and retaining them into our business, and from recruiting them and retaining them as consumers, first-time home buyers and sellers. Well, now millennials outnumber baby boomers in the population. So it's more likely that your next first-time home buyer, first-time home seller is going to be viewing content on the web as opposed to TV. In fact, they're probably viewing it on the web via their mobile device. So it's important that we figure out different ways of attracting and converting that next generation of real estate professional as well as the next generation of consumer. We also want to make sure that today you understand that this is not just about entertainment value, okay? Because Google owns YouTube, and we talked about the 92% of going online, the majority of people are going to start on Google. Well, of course, Google is going to give preference to their own stuff. So anything on the web containing video is going to get tremendous amount more of search engine optimization value. So we're going to make sure you understand how you link videos to your other content. You know, most agents, as you'll see, are not using video to promote themselves or their properties or their neighborhoods. But more importantly, what you're seeing is any agents who are using video are just uploading them to YouTube without really understanding the search engine power of that. What's worse is what many agents are doing is allowing the individual who creates the video tours or takes the photos of their property to create the YouTube video for them. And all they're doing is forwarding them a link to the video, okay? This really has little to no value. So we want to make sure that you understand not just shooting videos or getting the videos done, but uploading them and what you do with them and making sure that they're attached to your own account is more important than getting the video done itself. So using video even to win a listing presentation, for example, here's how we use it in our listing presentations, and we have a 95% close rate on listing presentations, so we know that this is an effective way of using these tools. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, 92% of buyers are going to start their search on the web. 70% of that traffic is going to start on Google. Now we know that 73% of sellers say that they prefer to list with an agent who uses video to sell their home, yet, here's the big one, only 12% of real estate agents have a YouTube channel, but more importantly, only 1% of agents use YouTube to market their listings. Okay, I want everybody to take a good look at this slide. 73% of sellers say they prefer to list with an agent who uses video, yet only 1% of agents are using YouTube to market their listings. This is a huge competitive advantage that all of you on today's call are going to have moving forward throughout 2014 and beyond. So we're going to talk about how we utilize them with what you currently have. Many of you on today's call have websites, so we want to make sure how you're using YouTube's to increase the traffic there, and also where you direct them from there to convert them. We know that statistically now people are more likely to convert, give you an accurate email address or an accurate phone number when they find content that instructs them that they like. So video is a great conversion tactic. We also know that now we've seen the advent of or proliferation of things like QR codes, or trying to direct people from offline, driving them online. Well, a lot of people will drive traffic offline by using a QR code or a web address, and knowing that people are searching from their phones, by sending them to a website that is not mobile enabled, you're going to lose that person. Well, YouTube is mobile enabled for every device on the planet. So if you happen to have a video tour or a video tour of the property or the neighborhood, use that QR code to send them to your YouTube account as opposed to a website that's not mobile enabled. We can move ahead with this, Brian. What we want to get through, and we'll move through these next couple of slides more quickly, is We're going to show you some examples, but because we're on a webinar today that doesn't allow us to stream video, we're not going to actually show you live examples of the videos, but we're going to give you information on where to go to find them and link to them. One of the biggest detractors or obstacles that most agents claim, and what Brian and I most hear about, is that making the video is difficult. They got to hire a professional cameraman, they got to hire a producer, they got to get a makeup artist, they think their voice sounds terrible on camera, they don't know how to edit. All of those things are irrelevant, okay, because we want you to just get started. If the statistic was that 73% of sellers wanted video to sell their home and 73% of agents were using it, yes, then all of those things would matter, okay, the production quality, all those things would matter. But because it's 73% of sellers say they want it and only 1% of agents do it, it's more important that you understand that it doesn't take professional photography. It doesn't take professional editing. In fact, most of the tools that you can use to get started right away are free and available to you now. In fact, the videos that we're going to show you examples of all were shot either with an iPhone or an Android phone or an iPad and edited completely free with free software included with those tools.
Right, so all you really need on these to use is just your smartphone. Your smartphone's going to take great video for you. And a great smartphone app to use, if you have an iPhone, it's called YouTube Capture. It's great for fast, easy recording. It's also got some really quick touch-up tools on it. And it also instantly uploads once you have a YouTube channel set up to your YouTube, but not only that, also to your Facebook, to your Twitter. Right now that's for iPhone only, but since it is a YouTube app and Android is owned by Google, I can't imagine it's going to be too long until that app actually comes with the Android as well. And just a little bit about equipment. The one thing when you're making a video that you do kind of want to stress on is just that you have a good audio. So if you're talking about something, you don't want to have the wind rushing by in the background. You don't want people to be straining to hear you. So, I mean, these are just also little mics for your phone that you can use. They're pretty cheap, easy to pick up, easy to use, and they're going to give you a much better audio sound when you're making these videos. So just kind of as far as making these videos, when you're getting out there, the first thing you always want to do is you want to have a plan. So don't just start recording yourself if you don't know what you're going to be talking about. It's also really important nowadays to keep these videos short. 1 to 3 minutes is the ideal time. People just aren't going to watch a video that's much longer than that anymore. Their attention spans are just they just want something that's short, quick, gets to the point, gets the information about you, about the house. They just want to see what they want to see and get out of there. And you also want to make sure that you're making content, not ads so much. So when you're making these videos, you are trying to sell yourself to a point, but don't overdo it. You're not trying to make ads. You're trying to make content that they're going to find useful and that they're going to want to watch. People usually don't want to watch your ads. And then you also want to make sure that when you're uploading these videos and just in the video itself, you have a clear and concise call to action, usually towards the end of the video. So tell them to contact you on your website. Tell them to email you. You let them know exactly what to do at the end of every video in order to take the next steps.
And this is very important. Brian makes some really good points here, in that when you're worried about being entertaining or being funny, that's when you'll have trouble in stumbling on camera. If you're talking about content, things that you understand, you know the market, you know the properties, you know yourself. When you're talking about the business that you live and work in, 1 to 3 minutes is going to fly by. And that's also what's most in demand from the consumer. But also don't forget that you want to convert these people. So you got to have a very clear call to action. We're highlighting this for YouTube today, but make a note that everything you do needs to have a call to action to convert people. Where you send them next. Okay, where do they take that next step? Go ahead, Brian.
All right, as far as video editing goes, so we're just going to go over some just basic things you can use. These are all free tools for you. iMovie, if you have a Mac, that's already going to be installed on there. If you're a PC guy or gal, Windows Movie Maker, it's pretty easy editing. Both of these are. And if you have neither of those, you can actually edit all of your videos online using the YouTube. It has its own online editor. That's actually pretty handy. And even if you edit most of your movies using something like iMovie or something like Windows Movie Maker, you're going to want to use the YouTube online editor, mainly because it allows you to do a few things that these other ones can't. It's going to allow you to basically add annotations to your video, which if you've ever watched a video and you've seen some type of call to action pop up, or a link to check out another video, a link to lead you somewhere else, those are annotations, and those can only be done through the YouTube editor. You can't do those through normal software. You also have a really, really great supply of royalty-free music. So if you need some background tracks for a listing video that you're making or for the tour of a home, they have a ton, like literally a ton of free music that's all royalty-free, for you can just add to your video. And you can also do just some of your basic editing on the YouTube editor. So at some point, you're probably going to want to get familiar with that program. It's pretty easy to use. I'll show you a quick example of it a little bit later when we show you how to upload a video. So on the topic of what kind of videos are effective and that really help drive traffic and convert buyers, we came up with a list of what we saw on YouTube that were just really good videos and that really can help you convert more business.
And while you're watching these and looking at these examples, I want all of you, any of you who did an open house this past weekend or who have done an open house recently, just think about, the number of attendees. It's not that we're not going to do these things. We're still always going to do the basics. Okay, real estate is a personal local business. But I want you to start thinking about the traffic you have on your website, the number of visitors. I want you to think about the number of people who have shown up at open houses or people you meet on Caravan, etc. As we go through these examples of different videos created by agents using these free tools that Brian and I just mentioned.
And like Bert mentioned earlier, you won't be able to, we can't stream these videos online. They're great examples, a lot of them, but unfortunately right now we can't do that since it's on a webinar. But once you get the slides, they're linked, so if you click on the pictures of any of these videos when they show up on the slides, you'll be able to go and watch those. So just to give you that as a heads up. So some of the videos that we want to talk about are agent profiles. So this is kind of like an introduction, introducing yourself to the client, why they should choose you. And it's a great tool because well-done agent profiles increase the time that prospects will spend on your site. So if they take the time to watch that video you send them, they're more likely to spend more time on your site, contact you. We already talked about how video can attract 300% more leads than normal marketing. If you get them to watch the video, it's a really good agent profile, introduces you, talks about why they should list with you or why they should sell with you, buy with you. You're really going to get that person in there, and they're going to be a really great prospect. So also, of course, property videos. So whenever you have a listing, it's always good to make a video, even if it's just a video slideshow of pictures of that house with some nice background music. Anytime you can get another video up on your own YouTube channel, it's always good. So anytime you have a listing, and also if you do have a listing, what I noticed when I was checking out a lot of these online on YouTube was that a lot of them didn't have, one, a call to action. That's always going to be a big thing I'm going to keep coming back to. And two, a lot of them didn't have information in the description, so they didn't tell me where to go if I wanted to find pricing information or an actual link to the real listing, not on YouTube, on your own agent website. So those are some things you want to remember to put in there. Just make sure that they're able to connect with that listing and you after they watch the video.
We also know statistically, that the number one and number two things that people are looking for are going to be the neighborhood videos and the property tours. And so if you're thinking about getting started and where to start, the two areas certainly would be on describing the neighborhood that you're in, or the properties either that you have, or if you happen to be covering somebody else's open house. I want you to think about the fact that how else are people going to come into contact with you if anybody is dealing with relocation, investors, right, out of market, and it's not even sometimes out of market. People are across the street, but this is how they're searching and reviewing properties or identifying which agent that they're going to use.
Yep, so like Burke just mentioned, neighborhood profiles. So these aren't so much a house or a listing. This is just kind of talking about the whole neighborhood, letting people know about places to eat, things you like to do there. The video we have down here is a really great example of one. It has 7,500 views, and if you watch it, it's not a very well put together video at all. It's actually just an agent driving around a neighborhood in his car and just kind of talking about things he sees as he's going around. But just a video like that, since there's not a lot of competition out there, already has 7,500 views. So, I mean, what you want to do in these is just kind of really focus on selling the community, not just any listings you have in there right now, but just letting people know about things that are going on there, about the schools, community events, anything like that. You just want to focus on pretty much being really hyper-local and just talking about what's going on in that neighborhood.
Exactly, and the number of views, you guys are going to be amazed and think, well, I can't get that in the area that I'm in. I want you to think, am I a real estate professional near a major city? Am I a professional near a college? Are there corporations nearby? Are there businesses? Do I have a nice neighborhood? Did I show up on the list of top 100 places to live in the country? Okay, there's always something to talk about, but there's so much search going on globally that this would be the only way to show up, right? So the reason why there's so much traffic coming to these videos is that there's no clutter. There's nobody they're competing with. So the consumers are there, but there's no agents there to deliver the message. So I know that we've seen over the years the decline in the effectiveness of print, but to use that analogy, the print analogy, if you were the only real estate agent with a full-page ad in the newspaper, you'd get traffic, you'd get calls because there's nobody else there. So with the examples that Brian's going to show you the next couple of slides is that the traffic is not so much because of the quality of the content, it's the fact that there's so many searches going on and there's no real estate professional showing up to deliver the result the client's looking for. Go ahead, Brian.
All right, so also just talking about current events in the real estate industry, what's going on in your market. You might not think people are kind of intrigued by this, but a lot of your clients are actually really interested in what's going on in the market. If it's more of a buyer's, seller's market. Just make videos of you discussing what your thoughts are, the way you think the market's going to go in the next couple months. This is another great example of a video, 16,500 views, and this is actually just an agent, Jessica Riffle Edwards. She has a ton of videos. She's actually great on YouTube, and she's actually just recording herself driving around in her car, comparing her real estate life to what she saw on a real estate reality TV show. So a video just like that can get 16,500 views just because there's nothing really out there, just like Burke was saying before.
Right. We haven't done this 16,499 times. The reason why there's so many views there are going to be based on keywords and phrases. As Brian goes through the next couple of slides, the most important thing that you're going to see here is how you describe these videos that are uploaded. That's why I mentioned before, and I'll reiterate, it's so important that you just don't turn this over to some videographer who is shooting virtual tours of your properties and just rely on them to send you a link to a video that was uploaded to their YouTube channel. It's not going to do you any good, okay? So as Brian walks through this, part of the reason why there's so much traffic for these agents' videos is in the keywords and phrases that they're using to describe what they do and where they do it. Remember that. People don't search by your name. They search for what they want and where they want it. So these videos and these examples that we're showing you are using keywords and phrases describing what they do and where they do it.
That is a great point. Very, very well said. So I'm actually going to go through these next examples fairly quickly just to make sure that we have enough time to show you how to set up your YouTube channel and make sure you have everything on there set and like you want it to be. So I'm just going to kind of go through these corporate communications. So if you have changes internally, externally, and you want to get the word out, it's also a great way to make a video. Just let people know exactly what's going on. Like we said and mentioned before, video, it just comes across as more trustworthy and appealing to people. Testimonials, always a great thing to have. If you can just record, your clients after you're done with the sale, just let them, ask them, what was it like to work with me? And just record that, and then you can kind of edit that into either a collage of testimonials or just a single testimonial from one person if they want to talk for a couple of minutes about you. Great thing to have, especially to embed on your website to get the Google search rankings up. Testimonials are always good to have on there. Pre-listing presentation videos, so you can let people know why they should choose you to list their home. Send that to people once again before you meet with them. They invest in watching that video, they're going to be a lot more invested in you, and they're going to be a better prospect. So open
It's
house
a great way to
promotions.
target expired listings. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that utilizing video to put out there, again, because so few agents are doing it, it's really going to separate you from everybody else who's cold calling them or sending them mailers.
Yep, open house promotions. These are usually, kind of hard to get people to come to. This video, a very simple one that was put together, 340 plus views. So that means 340 plus people watched it, and people are 300% more likely to convert after watching a video than they are just, normal traditional advertising. I would imagine this open house actually ended up going pretty well.
Actually, and it's not that 340 people watched it. What it is that 340 people conducted a virtual open house. 340 people attended a virtual open house tour of the property, right? So it's not just driving potential buyers, okay? You're building your brand, and you're also proving to the seller, look at what we're doing. By combining my offline farm, my local farm, okay, we've got traffic coming through, we're going to conduct an open house, but by adding my global farm. So when I combine my local farm and my global farm, we had over 340 people attend the virtual open house, right? So again, it's also about how we're using this to show our value, okay, the power of the local real estate professional, what we can do to create branding and marketing for ourselves, but also, more importantly, for our clients, for our sellers. That's how we use these tools. It's the language that we use. I want you to think about this. This is a statistic that we kind of skipped over, but I want you to make a note of. There's 3 billion views a day that are on YouTube, okay? 70% of that traffic comes from outside the United States. So when we think about Mr. and Mrs. Seller, not only are we marketing your property locally, we're marketing it globally to that lucrative international buyer or investor, because I've got your property tour up on YouTube. We generated these views. YouTube gets 3 billion views a day, and 70% of that traffic comes from outside the United States. You're going to win listings just by presenting that statistic with these pre-listing videos that Brian was just about to get to. When we're doing our pre-listing presentation, that statistic alone will win listings for you. Go ahead, Brian.
So also how-to videos, and these can go from a wide range of things. Real estate can be a pretty big and complicated world for a lot of your clients. So helping them out with short, informational videos, that include a lot of answers just to their common questions. You get asked questions a lot. Just make a quick video answering some of the most common questions you get about either listing a home, selling a home, buying a home. How does the closing work, what to expect in the closing. These are all videos that you can create, and what these are actually going to do is kind of establish you as a really knowledgeable person in this market. You're going to be kind of an authority on everything that they want to know. If you have videos that are kind of answering their questions before they even ask them, it's just
Exactly.
a great...
Your expertise, maybe you specialize with staging properties, working with foreclosures, investors. The fact that you can walk people through this, your ability to identify properties that can be flipped or rehab. These are special niches that many of you on today's call can provide tremendous value to a much bigger audience. Okay, so think about that niche that you have and generate these how-to videos. And one of the things, and I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead here, Brian, is that, look, if you've got great tips on staging, right, you don't have to put it all in one video. We talked about making them 1 minute to 3 minute long videos. So maybe what you do is you create a YouTube series. Okay, here's part 1 in my series on how to stage a property, or here's part 1 on how to identify good investment opportunities. Right, so you create a series of videos so that now you're pulling people along, creating more search engine optimization, and also creating more content for yourself. A lot of this stuff is something that you already have in existence that needs to be translated to video.
Just a couple more quick video ideas: how to purchase a home, lease to own tips, how short sales work, renovation tips, community events, and just, if you want to make some videos about local public services such as schools, or local government, things like that. So now we're going to get into setting up your actual YouTube channel, so kind of the fun stuff. A lot of times, you don't get this part from these types of webinars. They talk about how to do everything, but don't actually show you how to do it. One thing we love to do is actually show you exactly how you need to set up your channel, basically so you can get the maximum benefit out of it. And as a note on that, so there's a really important step right towards the beginning of setting up your channel, especially if this is your first time using YouTube. If you're just logging in and you haven't set up a channel before, you're going to see this little step pop up right after you click on Create a Channel, which I'll make sure to point out again when we get to that step. But you have to make sure that you click on Use Business or Other Name when this pops up. Otherwise, you're going to be making a channel that just has your name, and you won't be able to change that at all. So you're not really making one for your business. It'd be more like making a personal channel than it is a channel for your real estate business. It's similar to the difference between Facebook profiles and Facebook pages. So I just wanted to point that out because it's really important, and a lot of people goof up on this step, and they'll click that big blue OK button on the bottom right, but that is the wrong thing to do. So I'll make sure I'll point this out again when we get there. You're not going to see it actually pop up on my screen since I've already set up YouTube channels multiple times. I don't get this pop-up anymore, but I did want to point it out that when you do get it, it's very important that you click on Use Business or Other Name. So just to make sure you guys...
Real quick, before Brian gets into the step-by-step, I've seen multiple people add questions and comments about getting these slides. Yes, you are going to get these slides. Make sure you contact your local HSA rep to find out how to get a copy of this presentation. Also, right now, Brian is going to walk through step-by-step in creating this YouTube channel. This is a big deal. We'll talk towards the end about why it is such a big deal, but it's not just having a YouTube account here. This is creating your YouTube channel for your business. Right? Very, very important. It's free, available to everybody, but only a small percentage of agents are doing this. So this is important now that you understand what content is in here, because you're not going to get this specifically right now in the next 20 to 30 minutes, but I want you to understand what is in here so when you come back to it, all of you are going to get this, and Brian is now going to walk you through step by step in creating this channel and uploading your videos to the channel.
Right, and also to help out on that same note, on our own YouTube channel, youtube.com/HSA warranty, we have just little step-by-step videos, so if you want to come back and just learn how to do a little specific part of this, we have just short videos that'll just teach you, one or two things, or how to do one or two steps. So if you're trying to follow along and set this up at the same time, you're going to just get confused, you're going to miss some stuff. So for right now, since everybody's getting a recording, just kind of watch me as I go through it, and then you can always come back and check out these things later and do it on your own.
And Brian, if you want to touch real quick, just one or two sentences on if people already have a YouTube channel.
Right, so if you already have a YouTube channel, when I walk through these steps, you're going to see exactly what I see. There's just one small little change. One part says YouTube settings versus just normal settings. The changes aren't that different if you do or don't have an account. You will need to create an account, which is the step I'm on right here. So if you don't have an account set up on Gmail, Chrome, YouTube, Google Maps, Google Play, or Google+, you will need to go to youtube.com and sign up for an account. It's a pretty quick and easy process. Basically what you're going to do is just click on that Create an Account button. Fill out the required information on here, and you're going to have to verify your email address. It's not going to take you very long to do. And this is the one step that I was talking about. So what you're going to see on my screen, if you look at this top area right here, it's going to say YouTube settings because I already have a YouTube channel. If it's your first time logging in, you don't have a YouTube channel yet, it's just going to say settings. But besides that little change, everything's going to be exactly how you see it on my screen. So let's get into that right now. So right now I'm on youtube.com, and what I'm going to do is just sign out so you can see how to log in here. And since I already have an account set up on here, like I mentioned before, I can just click on this and sign in. And what we're going to do here is go up into the top right-hand corner. You should have a little picture of yourself here and your email. Click on the drop-down arrow. And as you can see here, it says YouTube settings. If you don't have a YouTube channel, it's just going to say settings here. But we're going to click on that. And now this should look the same for everybody. What I'm going to do here is click on create a new channel. And this is a step where you're going to see that pop up if it's your first time setting up a YouTube channel. So make sure that you double check that and you don't click on OK, that you click on create it for a business. So that's where you're going to see that step right there. Then all we have to do is go in here and name our channel. I'm going to go with HSA Home Warranty. You're going to want to go with something similar to if you were following our Facebook series, which you named your Facebook page. It's always good to kind of copy that same branding over to YouTube. For the category, what we're going to do is select company, institution, or organization. Now, it's pretty important that we selected this because one thing that we're doing here that is kind of behind the scenes that you normally wouldn't know is when you're setting up a YouTube channel, YouTube actually also creates a Google Plus page for you, and you're going to see that come up in just a second here. Then all you have to do is click on I agree to the page's terms and click on Done. And it's going to show you your new YouTube channel. So the first thing we want to do on this new YouTube channel is make sure that it's your channel, so you want to get your picture on here. If you click on this big blue box in the top left, there's an arrow. It's actually more of a pencil icon. And what I just mentioned about Google Plus, you're going to see that it's telling you right now that this page is connected to a Google Plus account. So when we made this YouTube business channel, it's also setting up a Google Plus business page, which we're just going to touch on right now to change the photo because these are two connected pages right now. Next webinar, though, we are going to be going into Google Plus. It's a huge, huge, huge thing. Probably the most important site to be on, especially as far as social media goes, for changing your basically organic search rankings. So if I click on that, it's going to take me actually to my Google Plus page where I can select a photo to upload. You can just resize it right here. Click Set as Profile. And once it shows up on my Google Plus page, you can see that it's also going to pop up over here once I refresh this page. So there we go. Now the next thing we want to do is actually, so you want people to be able to find your channel, find your videos. So we're going to go into the About section here. And where it says Channel Description, I'm going to click on that. This is basically a big area for you to use a bunch of keywords to kind of describe your business, describe what you do for your clients, let them know why they should choose you, and make sure you also include your contact information in here. I've already typed something up for this one right here just for the sake of time. We can also always go back in and edit these, but the channel description is pretty important. So anytime your channel shows up, this is what people are going to see. And one of the most important things to make sure you have on here is a link to your website right at the very beginning. That way when people come to your channel, you're going to be able to drive them back to your website, which is really where you convert people. So all of these things are kind of meant to drive people back to your website because that's where the real conversion happens. And like Bert says, you only get paid on conversions. So the next thing we want to do is link this page. Also, we have a link in our description, but we also want to have a link right up here on this top cover photo area. So when I click on these little links down here, what you're allowed to do is have one link to an external site that's not a social media network. So this is definitely where we suggest you add your website, so you can have something like check my listings or view my listings, and then this is where you're going to type in your URL. And you can just click on enter, and what you're going to see is that pop up right here at the top of your page. So once again, this is linking your normal website, your real estate website, to your YouTube channel. And another thing you can do if you have different social networks, you can go down here to the social links area, and you can have 4 of these on the top of your YouTube channel. and you can select from any of these. So LinkedIn is usually a big one. Google Plus is another big one. I'm going to do Facebook real quick. So then you just put in the link to your Facebook page or the link to your LinkedIn profile. And what you should see is those, yeah, they'll pop right up at the top of your page here. So you can also always go back in and edit these by clicking on the little pencil icon, clicking done. The next big thing I want to make sure that you get set up on here is this URL. So if you look at the top of the page, it's URL, or it's youtube.com/channel. Then you see this big mess of ugly letters and numbers just kind of jammed in there. What you want to do is get that narrowed down to just basically the same as a website URL. You know, you want it to be youtube.com/yourbusinessname. One important thing I want to mention before I go into this: once you set this URL, it's completely permanent. You can actually never change it. You can never delete it. You could start a whole new channel if you wanted a different URL, but you're going to lose, you know, all those videos you've uploaded. You're going to lose all the views you have on those videos. So it's really important before you do this next step that you think about it and you make sure that your URL is what you want your URL to be. So once we go into this little box in the upper right hand corner, we can go down to YouTube settings again. And right underneath where it says our name, we have advanced settings. I'm just going to click on that. And this very first option here, channel URL, you can see it's going to show you what your current URL is. And you're going to have a button to create a custom URL. That's what you want to click on. So you can choose from anything. And it's going to let you know if that is available or not. And you can see HSA home warranty is not available. It gives you some ideas which aren't usually good ones. Mr. HSA home warranty, HSA home warranty full. I usually wouldn't go with anything they suggest because they're all pretty terrible, but this is where you can go in, and once you have the URL that you want and is available, you can click on create URL. I'm not going to do this right now since I'm just setting up this channel as an example, but you can just click on create channel URL, and then you're going to be able to secure that URL, but it's permanent again, and you're not going to be able to change it ever.
Okay, so for those of you with a team, for your office, you could take all of this. You're taking the same approach. Brian is walking you through the process as a individual agent, but it's the same process that you'd walk through as a team, or if it's a manager who wants to have this channel for the office for content. If you're managing one as a lead agent for multiple agents, this is what you'd rather have. You'd rather have a channel for the team as opposed to having multiple accounts out there for all the different individuals. It's best to have one identified for the team. It's the same process that you would walk through as we created the Facebook pages, the Facebook business pages, for those of you who are familiar with that, and how you name them in creating a more of a custom name. But it's also important that in the description that you're making sure you're describing really, you know, who and what's there. So you can include multiple members of the team or the location description of the office. Use as many of those keywords and phrases as possible. And like Brian said, make sure there's a URL address at the front of that description. All that's going to help make sure that not just that it shows up, but for people to identify kind of who and what's there.
Okay, so in these last couple minutes, we got a decent amount of stuff to cover, so I just want to jump into uploading a video now. So anytime you're actually on YouTube, you always have this option to upload at the top here. And when you click on that, this is also where you can get to the YouTube editor. So you can actually start recording videos right from inside YouTube. You're online here if you have, let's say, a webcam set up. You also have the option to make photo slideshows on here, which is really easy, kind of step-by-step creator. And since you also set up a Google Plus page through that upload at the top here, you can start a Google Hangout on air. And you also have access to that YouTube video editor. So if you're ever trying to find that on YouTube, just click on the upload button, and you're going to have all these options pop up right here. So I'm just going to select a quick video from the computer here. And I'm going to choose our creating a YouTube channel video. I'm going to click on upload. And so this is the part where a lot of people kind of just skip through it and don't put any time or effort into thinking about what they're typing in these boxes, but it's actually really important. If you want these videos to be found, you got to make sure that you fill out a full description. You have to make sure that you have a title that has good keywords in it. And then you also want to make sure that you tag the video down here with things that match what's in the video. So if you're a real estate agent, you want to make sure that your company name's on there. If you're listing a home, if you're selling a home, you want to make sure that you have home sale, home listing on here. So we have all of these boxes here. The title, once again, I'm just going to jump back to the slides real quick. So from the title, you can kind of see that you have this option to share the link at the top. The title of the video, you want it to kind of be short, but also have, some good keywords in it. And you also want to keep your branding towards the end. So if you're going to, throw your whole company name on there and your agent, like Burke Smith Real Estate Agent, Tour of Downtown San Diego, you probably want to rename that video Tour of Downtown San Diego by Burke Smith Real Estate Agent. So if you're going to be putting that branding on there, you want to make sure you keep it towards the end of the title. Once again, the description is pretty similar to the title, and you have a lot more space and area to include keywords, include your company name. You want to make sure, once again, at the beginning of all of these videos, you have a link to your website and your contact information within that description for every video that you upload. Tags, which you saw in there, are basically what you can link the video. So these are just, once again, these are keywords. So you can do real estate, and you don't have to pick from what pops up here. You can just do anything. So house for sale. And it's going to basically tag these keywords with this video. So if you're doing a neighborhood tour in San Diego, it could just be San Diego tour. And it's going to tag all of these with that video you have on there. So it's basically just adding more search engine juice to these videos. Also, once again, you can select the category. More often than not, you're going to be putting most of your videos in the real estate category. It's just going to, once again, tag that video with real estate. And then there's also, the number one mistake. I've already mentioned it a few times on here, but it's making sure that you have a URL at the beginning of every video description. If you don't have that URL there, it makes it really hard for people to link back to your website, because these videos on YouTube, they can be embedded anywhere pretty much. They can be embedded on other websites. You always want to make sure that when they click on the video, the first thing that they have access to is your website. So once again, you're driving traffic back to where you convert. So now we have just a few minutes left, and we're going to go over just a quick review of a lot of the things that we just went over today. So as far as, making the videos, you want to keep it short and sweet. 3 minutes, like Burke mentioned earlier. If you have videos that are going to be a lot longer, try breaking them up into segments so that you have a video series instead of just one long 15-minute video. Break it down into 3-4 minute series clips. You also want to take advantage of those annotations. So those are those links that pop up. That's through the YouTube editor. And that way you can make people either link them to other videos, link them to places off of YouTube. You also want to never compromise a lot of the quality. So that's, I'd say, more sound quality than anything. We were talking about the mics before. And also make sure to include your full contact information in every video. And as far as just some ideas, we talked about property tours, welcome videos, that kind of showcase your expertise, client testimonials, neighborhood tours, just talking about real estate trends and things that are going on in your local market. How-to videos, so helping people, with staging before and after, home renovations, anything that kind of you're really good at that you have a knack in, make some how-to videos to help them out. And then also how-to videos, for buying tips and best practices. So if somebody's a first-time home buyer, they're going to have a lot of questions. Make some videos to just kind of address those questions that those people have. And when you're uploading videos, be sure to keep keywords in the title, keywords in the description, use tags, and make sure that there's also even keywords in the name of the file. So before you upload it, make sure that it has, let's say, the area that you're doing the neighborhood tour in. So if it's San Diego, have San Diego in that file name. And just some quick networking tips on YouTube. So you want to respond promptly and informatively to people's comments on your video. Everybody's allowed to comment on videos on YouTube. You can turn it off, but it's usually better to keep it on. You can also thoughtfully comment on other videos that are interesting to your target clients. So if there's already videos out there that maybe are from a community event, you can comment on those, and that way your channel can be seen by people who are watching that same video. And the YouTube video response, so it's basically when you record a response instead of just posting a comment. It's a really powerful feature if you use it wisely. And the big thing to all of this, the key to successful marketing on YouTube is creating clear and concise calls to action. And also then just a quick reminder, if you put in the effort, you will see the result. It's not something that happens right away, but if you keep putting videos out there, if you keep investing the time when you upload those videos to, make sure you fill out the description, you fill out the title, you add some keywords, you tag it, you're going to see the results. And also, so if you need help with any of your other social networks, visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/HSA Home Warranty. Click on our social media resources tab. That'll give you access to all of our past webinars, our articles, our quick how-to videos. They're all on there. We also have those video walkthroughs on youtube.com/HSA Home Warranty.
And I want to remind you also, it's about the consumer. I mean, concentrate on being interested instead of interesting. Okay, focus on the niche that you understand. People are interested already because of the content, but it's about them, right? So think about what they might be typing in. Think about what that out-of-state, out-of-country buyer, that person relocating, what are they going to be interested in? Think about those neighborhood tours. The bottom line is you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, okay? You've got a lot of content already available to you, right? Your brokerages many times already have videos. See if you can repurpose those. The biggest thing is also reach out to your affiliate partners. Obviously, your HSA home warranty reps are a tremendous resource for content and information, but all of your affiliates, I mean, there's great content there that can be created into a YouTube series that benefits you. I hope you understand now the benefit of why having your own YouTube channel and that the content going to your channel is so important, that the keywords and phrases in describing your videos are so important as opposed to just relying on the person who's shooting your virtual tours uploading to their YouTube account. I know there were a lot of questions on here that because of the time frame, you see how quickly we've gone through an hour. What we're going to do is we're going to reach out to each of you individually who posted a question or a comment. If you have a question or a comment that you did not get to post, you'd want to do it right now as we're coming to a close here, or you can email myself and Brian directly. I want you to keep in mind that this is us kicking off 2014. We're excited to be a part of your lives, a part of your business. This is all because of your local HSA reps. They're the ones who have asked us to do this. As I said before, as a broker in California, I wish I had this resource from my home warranty rep when I was getting started. It would have made me that much more successful. So I want you to reach out and hug and thank and shake the hand of your local HSA rep and ask them, how do I get a copy of this presentation? When's the next one? Okay, the one thing that I've learned coaching some of the most successful real estate professionals in the country is that if they were successful today and they were successful 5 years ago or 10 years ago and they're still successful now, it's because of doing what you guys did today, reinvesting in yourself, in educating, in evolving and growing your business, right? Technology will never replace agents, but agents using technology will. You are all agents using technology. It's not because we say it's cool. It's not because we want to do webinars on this stuff. It's because it's what the consumer wants. It's where the demand is. 73% of home sellers say they'd rather list with an agent who uses video to promote their property. You all now are agents with the ability to provide video to list those properties. A huge competitive advantage. As I mentioned, we'll make sure that a copy of these presentations go out to you, as well as answer your questions individually. For those of you whose questions we think will benefit the entire group, we'll make sure that the answers to those questions also go out to everybody. We thank you so much for your time and consideration today. We'll see you either on our next webinar, or ask your local HSA rep how you can get Brian and I to come do these presentations live. We'll be in St. Louis, I think, coming up soon. We'll be at Rebar Camp in St. Louis. We're going to be in Indiana a few weeks after that. So find out when we'll be live in your area, or find out how you can get us to come to your next sales meeting or company event. Again, Burke Smith and Brian Geik with HSA Home Warranty. Thanks so much. We hope you have an awesome 2014. And we also hope that you got a lot out of today's webinar. See you soon. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.